I think that ideology is very poisonous, and that we should not believe anything. It's a form of metaphysical hubris. It means you really think you're an important cosmic actor. I mean, if you met a termite who wanted to tell you his beliefs, you would be puzzled of why he even bothered. Well, are you so greatly different than this termite in relationship to the cosmic all of it? So beliefs are like, they're forms of culturally endowed paralysis. You know, I believe in the democratic individual. I believe in the resurrection and the life. Well, so what? We don't care. What we want to know is, what can we reach through examining the evidence and applying inductive and deductive approaches to it. You know, we've talked about this before, but some people think that what life is about is looking for the good ideologies. We want good ideologies, not bad ideologies. But I think the history of the 20th century is trying to show us, is shouting to us, in fact, that all ideologies, that the ideology itself is a betrayal of being. You know, certainly fascism, when carried to its logical extremes, seemed quite unappealing. The Holocaust and so forth. How then is it that the countervailing idea, which people of morally felt obligation were moved toward, produced nearly equal, if not equal, horror? You know, socialism. You know, you didn't. I mean, different people died for different reasons, but you had the same thing: camps, secret police, the knock on the door, the godlike bureaucrat, the indomitable state, on and on and on. So it looks to me like ideology is one of these neonatal behaviors that culture downloads on us. In other words, belief is for kids. It's a fairy tale. Marxism is no different than a belief in the Easter Bunny. Probability theory is no different than a belief in the Easter Bunny. Everybody needs to get a grip on the uncertainty of the intellectual enterprise. I mean, this is what, if modernism is worth anything, then it should carry us to a sense of the fragileness of knowing. You know, there are no Platonic archetypes. Gödel showed that simple arithmetic is fraught with uncertainty. Things that we thought were so writ in adamantine that they could never be questioned, like the second law of thermodynamics, turns out to be written in sand. It's just somebody's opinion. It applies locally in some cases, sometimes. So the way to live with a mind in the world, with a human mind in the world, is not to believe things. That's childish. It's undignified. The thing to do is to build models and to call them that. Call it model building. And why? Because the implication is, if you exceed your model, or if the thing you're studying has dimensions your model can't encompass, throw the model out. You don't round up everybody who's against the model and send them to the wall because God revealed the model. This would be the usual method of acting. No, then you have provisional, ever-changing relationships to the world. Another way of thinking about this is that what ideology tries to do is create closure. There's something in the human mind. We want to finish the crossword puzzle. We want the good guys to win. We want the equinox to happen against the same pattern of fixed stars. In other words, we want order. Worse than that, we want narrative. But this again is childish. The world is not a bedtime story. It is not a narrative. It does not have white hats and black hats. And so part of this growing up thing, or growing beyond culture, or de-neotenizing one's psyche, is to accept lack of closure. You know, that it doesn't come to an end. It never makes sense. There is never the moment of resolution. We want it. We want it. We deserve it. But it ain't in the cards. Everything always transmutes itself and opens up new avenues of possibility. So learning to live without closure. And I think this is very hard for people, you know. I think, and a lot of decent impulses serve this and tend to make people more neurotic. For example, relationship anxiety. People want stable relationships. Well, they might as well wish for a silent ocean, you know. All wishing for stable relationships brings you is further anxiety about your obviously unstable relationship. People want answers. You know, say, well, I believe this and that. I believe in reincarnation. So then that settles it. That means you don't believe in a whole bunch of other things.
So
but
you find the security.
Yes, it makes the world so simple. But you can make the world so simple, you can just tile over every open question with a dogmatic position. And then when you've entirely done this, you're so ossified, we can just toss you in a hole and bury you, and you will then have achieved this closure that you were so frantic to create in life.